Okay, so now that you've learned all about the history of the Macy's Day Parade in New York City, you're going to have an opportunity to plan your own parade. Now, I hope you guys have as much fun with this as my class did last year. They were so creative and fun, and it's a kind of a fun way to get all of our math practice in and review some math things without having to do like the same old boring lessons. So you'll see it says you've decided to hold a parade in downtown Zionsville this year, and it's going to take a lot of work. When you have large tasks, it's best to have a game plan to keep yourself on schedule. Have fun planning and designing your own Thanksgiving parade. Okay, so I'm going to click on this add response just so you guys can see what you're going to do when you come into Seesaw. The first page is going to show you everything that you will do throughout this activity. Now, I just want to start off by saying this is probably going to take you today and tomorrow. Okay, so I mean, it's not supposed to be rushed. There's a ton of math involved, and I want you to take your time and do the math and do everything like it's planned, right? Like how it's supposed to be done. There's a little bit of a writing thing at the end, but mostly I want you to focus on taking your time on this math. So 10 steps that you'll be doing. You're going to schedule when you'll have a parade. Then you have to budget your time on how you're going to spend your time setting this up. And then you're going to organize and create a food stand. Establish a timeline for your parade. You have to determine the route with barriers. Okay, the barriers are there to protect your audience or your crowd members from keeping like cars from driving on the streets that are supposed to be used by the parade, that sort of thing. Then you're going to design your float. You have to calculate your budget for this whole thing. It's going to be really expensive, so you're going to want to find some sponsorships and people and companies and businesses that will sponsor you in some way. Either they will put a float in the parade or they'll have a sign, they'll pay to have a sign made or something. And that's going to help you with your budget for this parade. And then finally, you're going to want to create an advertisement for it. And then I have a question for you at the very end that you're going to need to write back your response for. Okay, so let's just see what it's going to look like. So what is your date? I gave you a calendar for the rest of November, the month of December, and the month of January in case you want to have a New Year's Day parade. Okay, so pick your date. You have to answer your questions. Oops, wrong button. Okay, how much do you need to plan, or how much time do you need to plan? Okay, so here are the few rules that we have. You're going to take your answer from number 4. That was from this page, this one down here. Okay, and you're going to fill in the total time area on your chart. So the very first thing you need to do when you come over here is take that answer from the page, that last page, and record it right here in this red circle. Okay, use the type button, record your total time. Now you can work backwards. Okay, so now how much time do you plan on spending creating your float? And I tell you that this will take the longest time. So when I come back to check this paper, out of all your hours, this one should take the longest. Okay, you're gonna have to find sponsors, and that should take you half the amount of time that it's going to take you to establish your budget, which is further down here. Okay, planning your parade route, there's no rules for that. You can just do whatever you want to do for that. Establishing a budget, my one rule is that this task should take half the time it takes to plan your parade route. So once you know how long you're going to spend on this, then you're going to divide that in half so that you know how long it's going to take you to do this part. Okay, setting up rules and guidelines for each participant. No, nothing from me there. Creating an advertisement poster, no rules for me. But planning your food stand, I say this task will take the shortest of all your tasks. Okay, so some people are going to do this a couple different ways. Last year, I had kids that went ahead and filled this whole thing in right away. And then they had, and they really tried hard to make this math all come out. Because when this is done, when you've totaled up how many hours it's going to take you, how many minutes, it should match this total time down here. And it kind of drove kids crazy. Then I had kids that started on the projects and they started like, it looks like this one's your shortest one. So they kind of started here, wrote down how long it took, and then they used that number to help them figure out the budget and then how long it took them. Then they were able to do the half of that amount of time to do your sponsors, right? And then they knew how long the float was going to take for them. So this paper could get filled out right away, or you might wait on it. Okay, I've had kids do it both ways. All right, your food stand. You are going to think of some food or items. Now, all your directions, guys, are written in red. Well, it's supposed to be red, kind of looks pink. And you're going to list your food and drink item. You're going to use this typing bar and type it in right here. Okay. Then you're going to ask 4 more students. I've already done this first one for you. You're going to ask them what they want to buy at your food stand. If they would come to your food stand, like what would they purchase? That's going to give you an idea on how to budget for the day of the parade. Again, more directions are up here. You're going to need to read this to get a better idea. All right, then you're going to take that and you're going to figure out what that item was, how much it was going to cost, how many customers are going to buy this, and then you're going to have to do some multiplication to figure out your total amount. You want to read the directions up here because I'm not giving them all to you right now. You have to read them to find out what to do. Okay, so you can see this creating your food stand. This is one project, right? So, and it has 2 pages that go with it. And then you're going to get to another project. This is your parade timeline. I give you directions, I give you an example, and then down here you're going to fill in your times, and then you're going to draw lines for when we would expect to see these things in your parade. Again, all your directions are up here. All right, this is the big one. Your next activity is to create your road barriers. So you want to read this for directions. I'm going to tell you how to start, where to start. And what I'm talking about here is this next page, right? So all these directions from page 7 goes to this page, right? But you're going to have to do some things where I'm going to need to know the area and the perimeter for different objects. Sometimes it's one road barrier, okay? Maybe there's, I don't know if there's others. This is how you're going to finish it. Oh, well, each one I'm asking for different, like sometimes it's the perimeter, sometimes it's the area, okay? And they're different units. The units are going to be your squares. Each one of these little squares is a unit, okay? So you're going to plan that. Once you have your barriers figured out, then you will zigzag your parade route through the rest of it. Okay, now you're going to have to design the float that goes with it. So a lot more of your length, width, perimeter, and area. Okay, I give you an example of like what mine might look like if I'm going to have 3 different objects here. And then you are going to create yours. Okay. Then you got to figure out how much each of these is going to cost. So directions are here. Then you're going to actually build your float. Okay, that was my example. You're going to have one here. All right, now your budget. How are you going to pay for all this stuff? So I need to know how much money you spent on your float. And that's going to come from this page. Okay, this total cost down here. Once you know your total cost, you will be able to put that here. And then however many floats you want to have in addition to that, you can record that number here, how many giant balloons you want, how many costumes and people are going to be involved, and then how much you're going to pay each person to work for you that you're hiring. Okay, so you're going to do all of this, do some multiplication, adding this stuff up, And then you have to use that information to answer these questions down here. All right. Now you're going to find out that's really expensive. So you're going to want to find some businesses that might give you some money to sponsor it. So you might offer a parade float. Maybe one of your sponsors wants to donate a float, right? So you're going to determine how much you want to charge them. Okay, you're going to try to get 10 of them, right? And then you'll tell me how much that costs. Maybe some people will donate a giant balloon to your parade, right? You're going to determine how much that costs. Your goal is to get 20 of those. So however much this costs times 20, you put your answer here. And we have banners and we have signs. Now this is $10 per person. That's because each person or business might want a sign. Okay, then total it up, answer these questions down here. Okay, now you know what your parade's gonna, like what it's gonna be, what's gonna be involved in it, where it's gonna be, who's gonna help you with it. So now all you're left to do is to create an advertisement. So you're gonna advertise for your parade, be as creative as you want. And then my last question, would you want to organize a parade in real life? Why or why not? Type out your answer for me. Okay. This was so much fun last year. And the kids, it took both days before Thanksgiving break to get this finished. So please don't feel like you have to have it all finished in one day. The best ones were the ones that they took their time and spaced it out and really thought about it as if they were really going to be putting on a parade. It was really creative and fun. So this is meant to be fun. Enjoy it. Take your time. Talk to people about their ideas. Maybe you can share ideas and help each other out. But everyone's going to be making their own parade plan. I hope you guys have so much fun with it. I can't wait to see what you come up with.